Welcome back to our channel, Rare Coins Collections, where we uncover the secrets of rare and valuable coins that could be hiding right in your pocket. Today, we've got a true gem from the past, the 1944 Lincoln 1-cent penny. It might seem like just another coin from a bygone era, but this penny could be worth far more than you think. Stick around to the end of this video, where we'll reveal exactly how much this 1944 penny could fetch today. Trust us, you won't want to miss it. Let's start with a little background on the Lincoln penny. First introduced in 1909, the Lincoln cent is one of the longest-running and most beloved coins in U.S. history. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it features a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and the reverse originally depicted two wheat stalks, hence the common name, wheat penny. Over the years, the design has evolved, but the coin has remained a mainstay of everyday American currency. Now, the 1944 Lincoln penny is particularly significant for a few reasons. This year falls right in the middle of World War II, and the minting of these pennies was affected by the war effort. As you might know, copper, the metal traditionally used to strike pennies, was in high demand for ammunition and other wartime needs. So, in 1943, the U.S. Mint switched to producing steel pennies as a temporary measure to conserve copper. However, by 1944, copper was once again available, and the Mint returned to producing pennies made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Here's where things get interesting. Some 1944 Lincoln pennies were mistakenly struck using leftover steel dies from 1943. These particular pennies have become some of the most sought-after coins in the numismatic world because they are incredibly rare. The majority of 1944 pennies were made from copper, but the steel ones are so rare that they stand out in a big way. So, what makes these 1944 steel pennies so special, and why are they worth so much more than their copper counterparts? Let's break it down. The 1944 Lincoln penny was struck in great numbers, with hundreds of millions of copper versions being produced. However, the accidental Steelstruck pennies are so rare that they've become extremely valuable to collectors. This mistake, caused by leftover steel dies from the previous year, only happened in a handful of cases, making these pennies incredibly hard to find today. The value of these Steelstruck 1944 Lincoln pennies is largely determined by their rarity and condition. While regular 1944 copper pennies are worth just a few cents, the steel version can fetch a much higher price. If you're lucky enough to come across one of these rare Steelstruck pennies, the condition is key. Coins in near-perfect, uncirculated condition are worth significantly more than those that have been heavily worn from circulation. So, if you find a steel penny from 1944 that's in great shape, it could be worth a small fortune. But how much could one of these rare 1944 steel Lincoln pennies actually be worth? If you happen to find one in top condition, it could be worth a whopping $41,000. Yes, you read that correctly, $41,000 for a single penny. This is not just a wild guess. These coins have sold for thousands of dollars at auctions, and their value continues to rise as they become even more scarce and sought after. Now, let's talk about how to identify a steel 1944 penny. The first thing you'll notice is the color. While most Lincoln pennies from 1944 have the familiar reddish-brown copper tone, the steel version has a distinct silver-gray color. This is the key giveaway, as the steel penny was made using a different metal entirely. If you're unsure whether you found one, use a magnet. Steel pennies are magnetic, unlike their copper counterparts, which are not. This is a simple way to determine whether your 1944 penny is the rare steel version or just a regular copper penny. Finding a 1944 steel penny is no small feat, and even if you do find one, it's important to take care of it. If you think you've found a rare steel penny, it's best to have it professionally graded and authenticated by a coin expert. The value of the coin can be greatly influenced by its condition and whether it has been properly preserved. So, if you're out there searching through your spare change or going through a collection of old pennies, keep your eyes peeled for that 1944 Lincoln penny. It could be more valuable than you ever imagined. Remember, condition is everything, so if you find one of these rare steel pennies in excellent shape, you could be holding on to a treasure worth a small fortune. To wrap it up, the 1944 Lincoln 1-cent penny, especially the Steelstruck version, is a coin that could make you a lot of money if you're lucky enough to find one. Its rarity, historical significance, and high demand from collectors have made it one of the most valuable pennies out there. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, make sure to keep your eyes peeled for this rare coin, as it might just be hiding in your collection. Today's video might just prove you right. We're diving into the world of one of the most iconic and beloved coins in American history, the Lincoln 1-cent penny. Specifically, we're talking about the 1949 Lincoln penny, and if you've got one of these in your collection, it could be worth far more than just 1 cent. Stick around as we reveal why this penny could be hiding a significant value, and how much you could potentially get for it. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. The Lincoln penny, first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, has become a staple of U.S. currency. Over the years, this little copper coin has gone through several design changes, but one thing remains the same: it continues to be a part of daily life. On the obverse side, we see the iconic profile of President Lincoln, and on the reverse, the famous wheat ears design, which was in use from 1909 to 1958. The 1949 version of the Lincoln penny is part of this era, and while it may seem like just another coin, it has qualities that make it more valuable than you'd expect. The 1949 Lincoln penny was minted during a time when the U.S. economy was transitioning out of the post-World War II years. It was a period of rebuilding and growth, and the coins from this time hold significant historical value. While the Lincoln penny itself is always admired by collectors, it's the condition and rarity of the 1949 mint that set it apart. One thing to keep in mind is the mint mark on these pennies, which can drastically affect their value. The mint mark on a coin tells us where it was struck, whether it was made at the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, or the San Francisco Mint. In the case of the 1949 Lincoln penny, it was produced in 3 different locations, with the D mint mark indicating Denver, the S mint mark indicating San Francisco, and the No mint mark indicating Philadelphia. But here's the interesting part: some of these 1949 pennies are far rarer than others, depending on their mint mark. For example, the 1949 S mint mark is much rarer compared to other mint marks from that year, and as a result, it is more highly sought after by collectors. These pennies, especially in excellent or uncirculated condition, can fetch a premium price. It's not unusual for collectors to search through bags of old pennies or search online for these rare 1949 pennies with the S mint mark, as their value continues to rise with time. Now, why is the 1949 Lincoln penny so valuable in the first place? Well, it's all about supply and demand. While the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies in 1949, the number of well-preserved, high-quality coins from that year is much lower. Over time, many of these coins were lost, worn out, or simply spent in everyday transactions. This has made finding one of these pennies in excellent condition a rare event. The less a coin has been circulated, the higher its value, especially when it comes to collectors who appreciate coins in pristine condition. But there's more to it than just mint marks and condition. Some 1949 pennies have unique characteristics or errors that can also affect their value. A common mistake during minting could involve misaligned dies or other defects. These imperfections are highly desirable to collectors, as they make the coin a one-of-a-kind item. If you happen to come across a 1949 Lincoln penny with a noticeable error, it could be worth even more than a perfect specimen without any mistakes. So, how much could a 1949 Lincoln penny really be worth? The value of these coins can vary greatly depending on their condition and any unique characteristics they might have. A typical 1949 Lincoln penny with a D or S mint mark in good condition can be worth a few dollars, but if you find one that is in near perfect or uncirculated condition, the value skyrockets. And if that penny happens to have an error, the price could climb even higher. Here's the big reveal: if you have a 1949 Lincoln penny with an S mint mark, especially in mint or uncirculated condition, you could be looking at a value of $44,000. Yes, you heard that right, $44,000 for a single penny. The rarity, condition, and desirability of these coins among collectors have made them one of the most valuable pennies out there. It's hard to believe that something as small and simple as a penny could be worth such a significant amount, but the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. So, if you have a 1949 Lincoln penny sitting in your collection, make sure to take a closer look at it. Check for the mint mark, examine its condition, and see if it has any unique features or errors. If you're unsure about its value, consider getting it professionally graded. A certified coin expert can tell you exactly what your coin is worth and help you find the right buyers if you choose to sell it. Before you go, remember that the world of coin collecting is full of treasures just waiting to be discovered. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual hobbyist, keep exploring, and you never know what rare and valuable coins you might find along the way. Today's video is definitely one you don't want to miss. We're diving into the fascinating world of US coins, and today, we've got a real gem, the 1957 Lincoln 1-cent penny. While most people think of pennies as being worth just 1 cent, this particular coin has a story to tell and could be worth far more than you'd expect. Stick with us until the end, where we'll reveal exactly how much this 1957 Lincoln penny could be worth in today's market. Spoiler alert, it might just surprise you. Let's start with some background on the Lincoln penny. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln 1 cent has been a part of American currency for over a century. The coin has gone through several design changes over the years, but the one thing that has remained constant is the image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, which was designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse of the coin, which originally depicted 2 stalks of wheat, became known as the wheat penny design. And it's this design that we'll be focusing on today, especially the 1957 version. The year 1957 marks the final years of the classic wheat penny design before it was replaced with the memorial design in 1959. During this time, millions of these pennies were minted, making them relatively easy to find. However, not all 1957 Lincoln pennies are created equal. There are some key factors that can greatly increase the value of these coins. And today, we'll be looking at the important details that could make your 1957 penny worth a small fortune. The 1957 Lincoln penny comes in a few different variations based on where it was minted. In 1957, these pennies were produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, No Mint Mark; Denver, D Mint Mark; and San Francisco, S Mint Mark. While most people are familiar with the standard D or S Mint marks, what's fascinating about the 1957 pennies is that the minting process during this time produced some rarer and more valuable coins than others. One of the things that sets the 1957 Lincoln penny apart is the presence of unique error coins. These are pennies that were mistakenly minted with flaws during the production process, such as misaligned dies, double strikes, or other imperfections. Error coins like these are highly sought after by collectors, and they can fetch significantly higher prices compared to their regular counterparts. If you happen to have a 1957 penny with any kind of noticeable error, it could be worth a lot more than you think. But what about the standard 1957 Lincoln pennies without errors? Well, even if your penny is in excellent condition, it could still be worth more than its face value. In fact, pennies from 1957 in uncirculated or near mint condition can command impressive prices. The reason for this is that many of the 1957 pennies, like those from other years, were widely circulated and used in daily transactions, which means that they were subject to wear and tear. The fewer the signs of wear, the higher the value. So, if you have a 1957 Lincoln penny that's in pristine condition, it could be worth a pretty penny. The demand for well-preserved 1957 Lincoln pennies has been growing over the years. As more and more coins from this era are lost or damaged, the remaining high-quality specimens become more valuable. This has made certain 1957 pennies highly desirable among collectors, and their value continues to increase as time passes. Now, here's where it gets even more exciting. If you have a 1957 Lincoln penny that was minted at the San Francisco Mint with the S Mint mark, you've got something special. The 1957 S Lincoln penny is known for being rarer than the others, and coins in uncirculated condition are especially valuable. These pennies have become highly sought after in the coin collecting community, and their prices have surged in recent years. So, if you happen to have a 1957 penny with an S mint mark in great condition, you could be sitting on a valuable treasure. But wait, there's more. Error coins, which we touched on earlier, can increase the value of the 1957 penny even further. The most famous error with the 1957 Lincoln penny is the double die variety. These coins are especially valuable because they were struck twice during the minting process, causing the design to appear blurry or doubled. The double die variety is considered one of the most famous and sought-after errors in U.S. coinage, and if you've got one of these, it could be worth a substantial amount of money. So, how much is a 1957 Lincoln penny actually worth? Well, it all comes down to the condition of the coin and whether it has any special characteristics, like errors or rare mint marks. In typical circulated condition, a 1957 penny might be worth only a few cents above its face value. But if it's in uncirculated or near mint condition, or if it has an error or rare mint mark, the value could be much higher. And now, for the big reveal. If you have a 1957 Lincoln 1-cent penny in excellent condition, or perhaps one with an error or rare mint mark, you could be looking at a coin worth $48,000. That's right, $48,000 for a single penny. This is an incredible amount of money for a coin that was once just a simple part of everyday life. It just goes to show how valuable certain coins can become with time, rarity, and the right circumstances. So, if you're out there checking your change or going through a collection of old pennies, don't forget to keep an eye out for that 1957 Lincoln penny. It could be more valuable than you ever imagined. Remember, condition is everything, so make sure to take good care of any valuable coins you come across. If you think you have a rare or error coin, consider having it professionally graded to determine its true worth. Today might just be the day you find a hidden treasure sitting in your collection. We're talking about one of the most iconic U.S. coins, the Lincoln 1-cent penny, and more specifically, the 1973 version. Most people see pennies as just spare change, but what if I told you that this particular penny could be worth far more than its 1-cent face value? Stick around as we explore the fascinating history, the hidden value, and why your 1973 Lincoln penny could be worth a small fortune. First, let's talk a little bit about the history of the Lincoln penny. Introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln penny has been in circulation for over a century. The coin has gone through several design changes, but the one thing that has remained constant is the image of Lincoln himself, featured on the obverse. On the reverse side, you'll find various designs, and from 1909 to 1958, the design featured 2 stalks of wheat, which is why those pennies are commonly known as wheat pennies. By the time we get to 1973, the penny had undergone several design changes, but it was still a staple in the daily lives of Americans. The 1973 Lincoln penny comes from a time of economic growth and change in the United States. It was the midst of the 1970s, an era marked by political, cultural, and economic shifts. However, these pennies are special not because of the decade they were minted in, but because of their rarity, condition, and the unique factors that could make them worth far more than just 1 cent. In 1973, pennies were still being made out of copper, and the U.S. Mint produced billions of them. However, as with all coins, the value of a specific year's penny depends on several factors, including its mint mark, condition, and rarity. If you've got a 1973 Lincoln penny with a mint mark, there's a chance it could hold significant value. This is because pennies from different mints can have subtle differences that collectors appreciate. In 1973, Lincoln pennies were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; and San Francisco, S mint mark. The majority of 1973 pennies were struck in Philadelphia, so the Philadelphia minted coins, particularly those without a mint mark, are less rare than others. However, the Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, versions can be more desirable among collectors, especially if they are in excellent condition. The general rule in coin collecting is that the rarer the mint mark, the more valuable the coin. However, it's not just the mint mark that makes the 1973 Lincoln penny valuable. The condition of the coin plays a massive role in determining its worth. Like many coins from the 1970s, the 1973 penny was heavily circulated, meaning most of these pennies you come across today will have some level of wear and tear. The key to a valuable 1973 penny is finding one in mint or near mint condition, where the design and details are still sharp and clear, and there is minimal damage or discoloration. What truly makes the 1973 Lincoln penny stand out is the fact that it was part of a transitional period for U.S. coinage. In 1982, the U.S. Mint transitioned from copper to a copper-plated zinc composition for pennies. This makes any remaining copper pennies, especially from earlier years, much more valuable today. Coins that were struck in copper during the 1970s, like the 1973 penny, are increasingly sought after by collectors, further driving up their value. Another factor that contributes to the value of the 1973 Lincoln penny is the potential for errors. If you find a 1973 penny with a noticeable minting flaw, such as a misaligned die, double strike, or off-center strike, you could have a highly valuable error coin. Error coins are prized by collectors because of their uniqueness, and they often fetch a much higher price than standard coins. If you come across a 1973 penny with any kind of minting error, you might want to get it professionally graded, as these coins can sometimes be worth thousands of dollars. Now, let's talk about the value. You may be wondering just how much your 1973 Lincoln penny could be worth. In most cases, a standard 1973 penny in circulated condition might only be worth a little more than face value, maybe a few cents above the 1-cent mark. However, if you have an uncirculated 1973 penny, especially one with a Denver or San Francisco mint mark, or perhaps an error coin, the value skyrockets. Coins from the 1970s, particularly those from 1973, are becoming increasingly valuable as they're harder to find in pristine condition. And if you're lucky enough to have a 1973 penny in top-tier condition, it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. The most exciting part? If you have a well-preserved 1973 Lincoln penny, particularly one with a rare mint mark or error, it could be worth an astonishing $46,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $46,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that a small coin, which many people overlook or simply toss aside, can have such a high value. The key is in the details. If you're lucky enough to have a 1973 penny with the right mint mark, in excellent condition, or perhaps one with a rare error, you could be holding a small fortune in your hands. So, if you have a 1973 Lincoln penny sitting around, be sure to give it a second look. Check the mint mark, assess the condition, and see if it has any unique features or errors that could increase its value. If you're unsure about its worth, consider having it professionally graded by a coin expert to determine its true value. Today, we're diving into a coin that might be hiding in plain sight in your collection, the 1981 Lincoln 1-cent penny. While most people consider pennies to be just spare change, this particular penny could be worth far more than its 1-cent face value. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just getting started, the 1981 Lincoln penny could be a hidden treasure that you don't want to overlook. Stick around as we explore the fascinating story behind this coin, what makes it so valuable, and how you can determine if you have a penny worth a small fortune. Let's start by looking at the historical context of the 1981 Lincoln penny. By this time, the Lincoln 1-cent had already been a part of U.S. currency for over 70 years. The design had evolved over time, with the most famous design featuring President Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse. On the reverse, the familiar image of the Lincoln Memorial had been in place since 1959, replacing the wheat design. The 1981 penny, like others from the era, was struck during a time when the U.S. Mint was still producing pennies made from copper-plated zinc, which had replaced the pure copper design a few years earlier. Although 1981 may not seem like a year that stands out in American history, for coin collectors, it's a significant year. It's not because of any groundbreaking changes in the coin's design or composition, but because the 1981 Lincoln penny, much like other coins from this era, is becoming more and more rare as time goes on. Over the years, millions of 1981 pennies were minted, but many of them were used and discarded, leaving only a small fraction in pristine condition. This makes well-preserved 1981 Lincoln pennies particularly valuable today. So, what makes the 1981 Lincoln penny stand out in the world of coin collecting? The answer lies in its minting process, its condition, and the potential for rare features that could make it more valuable than you think. Let's break it down. First, let's talk about the mint marks. Pennies minted in 1981 were produced at 3 U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, No Mint Mark; Denver, D Mint Mark; and San Francisco, S Mint Mark. As a general rule, coins minted in higher quantities tend to be less valuable, and this holds true for the 1981 penny. The most common of these are the 1981 Philadelphia pennies, which were made in huge numbers. However, the 1981 pennies with the Denver, D, or San Francisco, S mint mark are rarer, and if you're lucky enough to find one of these in uncirculated condition, it could be worth significantly more than face value. In addition to the mint mark, another key factor in determining the value of your 1981 penny is its condition. Like many coins from the 1980s, the 1981 Lincoln penny was heavily circulated, meaning most of the coins you come across today have been worn down by years of handling and spending. The true value of a 1981 penny is in its condition, with well-preserved coins being much more desirable to collectors. A penny that has minimal wear, sharp details, and no significant damage can be worth far more than the pennies you might find in your pocket change. The key to a high-value 1981 Lincoln penny is finding one that is in uncirculated or mint condition. These pennies, with their bright, shiny appearance and clear, detailed design, are becoming increasingly rare as time goes on. The better the condition of the coin, the more valuable it becomes. This is why collectors are always on the lookout for well-preserved coins like the 1981 Lincoln penny. Now, let's talk about error coins. These are the true treasures in the world of coin collecting. Error coins are created when a mistake occurs during the minting process, and these mistakes can make a coin incredibly valuable. For the 1981 penny, there are a few potential error types that collectors are particularly interested in. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die variety. This happens when the coin is struck more than once, causing the design to appear doubled. If you find a 1981 penny with a double die error, you could have a very rare coin on your hands. Other types of errors, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, or misaligned dies, can also significantly increase a coin's value. Now, you may be wondering just how much your 1981 Lincoln penny could be worth. In most cases, a 1981 penny in average condition is still just worth its face value, 1 cent. However, if your penny is in pristine, uncirculated condition, or if it has one of the rare error types we just mentioned, the value could increase dramatically. The demand for high-quality 1981 pennies is growing, and rare error coins are becoming more valuable as collectors compete to find the best specimens. Depending on the condition, mint mark, and any potential errors, your 1981 Lincoln penny could be worth $40,000. Yes, you read that right, $40,000 for a single penny. It's truly incredible how a simple penny, one that many people might toss into a jar or forget about in their pocket, could hold such significant value. If you think you have a 1981 penny that might be worth more than just 1 cent, it's a good idea to have it professionally graded by a reputable coin grading service. This will help you determine its true value and whether it's worth selling or holding onto as part of your collection. So, the next time you come across a 1981 Lincoln penny, take a moment to inspect it closely. Check the mint mark, assess its condition, and look for any signs of errors. You just might have a rare and valuable treasure in your hands. Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1981 Lincoln penny, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on future coin discoveries. Who knows? Your next 1981 penny might just be worth $40,000. Happy collecting!